Hello friends, my name is Muddiness, and today I'll be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I've read 44 books so far this year and I honestly don't even know how. I've been in a terrible reading mood all year, and when I look at the selection of books that I've read, it is very wild to me, a little bit outside of my norm, very patchwork, I don't know. I'm proud of myself for having read as many as I have because it doesn't feel like I've read this many, and I've also been just struggling with my reading mood in general. Let's not even get started on the reading goals that I set for this year because no. The answer on all of them is no, absolutely not. I don't even want to think and try and remember what they were because I know. No, let's get into it. First up is the best book that I've read in 2021, and that is Caste: The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. This is a nonfiction book that makes the argument that what the United States has is a hidden caste system. This was absolutely wonderful. It is both well researched and told in a wonderful style that combines elements of that research with stories and storytelling, and it makes a sound and compelling argument, one that I have not stopped thinking about and that really changed my perspective on how we experience racism in the United States. I've talked about this to people, I've recommended it nonstop, and truly, just quality wise and impact wise, it is the best thing that I've read this year so far. Next is the best sequel that I've read in 2021, and I absolutely suck at reading series. I am the worst, except for this year I got hooked on a series. It helps that they are novellas, most of them, but I've read all the way through it and I am now current. So hands down, this has to go to The Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. I read the first one, All Systems Red, and I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, I think. I really enjoyed myself, but there were a few things about the storytelling, even in the shorter novella format, that I was that was fine. It wasn't perfect, but the enjoyment factor of reading overall and the character of Murderbot stayed with me, and so I was compelled to continue reading on in the series, and this has been by far one of the best reading experiences of the year for me as well. I think that each of the individual parts of the series are somewhere between 3.5 and 4 stars, particularly because some of the side characters don't really have the space to be fully fleshed characters, and all of them are a blur in my head. There's Murderbot, their AI friends, and then the blur of side characters. But this is 100% a series that is better than the sum of its parts. And this as a whole is entertaining, it's funny, they're compelling and gripping, and Martha Wells could write about Murderbot doing anything and going anywhere, and I'm on board. Next is a new release you want to read but haven't yet. So many of my unread books at this point are Book of the Month books, so literally any of those, but outside of Book of the Month, I have 3 recently acquired books that I want to get to sooner rather than later. So first I have The Cost of Knowing by Brittany Morris. This is about a boy that whenever he touches an object, he can see the future, and when he touches a photo of his brother, he sees his brother's imminent death. So it's kind of a race against time to stop that from happening. Next I have Long Division by Kiese Laymon, and this is a book told in 2 parts. The first half of the story is about a boy named City who basically goes viral on YouTube after having a meltdown on a show, and he gets sent to a small town in Mississippi to stay with his grandmother, and a girl has recently gone missing from this small town. He discovers a book called Long Division that features a character with his same name, but the book was written in 1985. And so his story kind of converges with the story of this missing girl. I thought this was such a cool premise, and it's described as being magical realism and Southern Gothic. So I'm so excited to finally get to this one. And then I have You're So Dead by Ash Parsons, which was sent to me by the publisher. And this is a mystery that is inspired by the Fire Festival. So it's about 2 sisters. One is an influencer and one is not. And the one who is not intercepts an invite to a Fire Festival event and decides to go with her best friends without her sister knowing. But when they get there, the event is not what it seems and people start dying. Next is my most anticipated releases for the second half of the year, and I've narrowed it down to 3 to at least mention. One is The Love Hypothesis, and I've seen 2 people now that I really trust, Chelsea and Mara, both review this and love it, and it is a fake dating romance. So now I'm just super excited to get my hands on this when it comes out in September. Second, I have Velvet Was the Night by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, which I will read anything that she puts out. And third is The King of Infinite Space by Lindsay Faye. It is a Hamlet retelling, and Lindsay Faye did Jane Steele, which is a Jane Eyre retelling that I love. So I'm excited to see what she does with Hamlet. Next is my biggest disappointment. So for disappointment, it is something that I had high hopes for, or at least some hopes for. So for this, I'm going to give it to The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. I haven't written a review about this or talked about it at all because I have a specific project for it in mind, but I will just say here that I had incredibly high hopes for this, especially as somebody who loves Lord of the Rings and was like ready for something in that vein, knowing that it paid very close homage to Lord of the Rings, but there was a lot here and unfortunately just didn't work for me, and I never connected to any of the characters, which I feel like you need that character connection to make it through the sort of like rambling, ambling plot. I do intend to still do that project I had in mind and maybe even reread this to really get into the nitty gritty of why this didn't quite work for me, but I did want to mention that I read this and I was a little disappointed. This is not a question on the tag, but I wanted to mention the worst book that I read this year, which is different, I think, than my biggest disappointment, but also probably surprising no one. That is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This was such a garbage story, poorly written, and I absolutely do not see the appeal. The fact that it is so hyped and so popular and so loved, like, only made it worse to me how terrible this was. Like, the quality is not there. I honestly don't see the appeal on any portion of the stories. Not the characters, not the romance, not the world building, not the plot. Like, none of this is good. At this point, I hope this is also on my end of the year worst of list. Like, honestly, if I have to read a book worse than this at all this year, like, sucks for me, right? So just get ready to keep hearing me complain about how terrible this was. Next is my biggest surprise, and that was The Anthropocene reviewed by John Green. So I started reading John Green's fiction right at the cusp of like aging out of them, which means that I loved the first one that I read of his, Paper Towns, but as I kept reading, like, I just wasn't the target audience for them anymore. But I really love and appreciate the work that the Green brothers do online. So I came into this a little bit hesitant, but really excited to see what John Green was going to do in nonfiction, and this just, it really blew me away. I think I was not expecting to be, one, so emotionally invested in this, and then also two, just like, I don't know, the impact of seeing John Green's voice and storytelling style in something more geared towards adults and in something nonfiction was just a wonderful combination. Overall, I love this project. I love the combination of looking at like larger scale human experience things and smaller scale personal to Green's experience stories. I love the mixture of like hope and wonder at the things that we do as humans, but also the more like sober things about, you know, not only us as humans, but just the experience of the last year and a half. All of that combined in here was super impactful, and this was fantastic. One of the best things that I've read this year. Next is a favorite new to me or debut author, and that is going to be Angeline Boulley, who wrote Firekeeper's Daughter, another book that I really loved this year. And of all of the like new to me authors that I read this year, I picked Boulley because I just loved the storytelling style in this book in particular. It was so rich and so layered. There were so many facets to the main character's story. You had this mystery, but it also seamlessly wove in so many aspects of Ojibwe culture, but it also looked at growing up and coming of age and grief and dealing with grief. And it did all of these things in excellent style. So an author I will 100% keep an eye on, and whatever Boulley writes next, like, sign me up, I'm there. Next is my newest fictional crush. Fictional crushes are not a thing that I like think about or do or way that I frame characters that I read about. Also, it just sometimes it gets weird when people are talking about fictional crushes, but I'll reframe this a little bit and say like a male character in a romance that I read recently that I really enjoyed, and for me that was Rafe from Rafe, A Buff Male Nanny by Rebecca Weatherspoon. This is like the last romance book that I read, and as a main character, he is just like the epitome of like big mountain man soft on the inside. Literally, he's a nanny. He's like cooking in the kitchen, but he rides a motorcycle and he's got tattoos all over. You know what? I'm a sucker for that trope. I don't even care. But also just like what the character said about, being a good guy, being a gentle person, and like learning from his past mistakes when he wasn't as caring of those around him and the things that he learned and how he applies them. Like all of that was just wonderful. Truly like the best of a man written by a woman. As good as it can get. Next is newest favorite character, and for me that is 100% Murderbot. But because I talked about Murderbot already, I will say a second place one, and that is Bree from Legendborn. I really enjoyed the story. I had a good time with it, even though some of the world building was not the best and it took me a little while to understand what was going on. I ultimately enjoyed the plot progression and the elements of the world that I understood by the end of it. But above all else, I loved Bree so much as a main character in this story. I loved how she slotted into this plot in particular, and I was rooting for her the whole time. I even liked the love triangle in this, and a large part of that is Bree. The legs of the triangle were also wonderful characters. So in general, great characters in this story, and I'm so happy that I read this one this year. Next is a book that made you cry. I've mentioned both of these, but the Anthropocene Reviewed, I literally was crying like in the introduction. I listened to this on audiobook and then I bought a physical copy because I enjoyed it so much. So I was listening before bed, like in the dark, just listening to the introduction, and I had that wave of tears, emotion, and then just like that, oh no, like I wasn't ready. And then Firekeeper's Daughter also made me cry. The moments in this that were most touching to me were when like her elders and her community were rallying around her and showing up for her and giving her support. Everything that had to do with Donis's connection to her people, just all of the feels, literal tears. So good cry books. Also, don't take my word for it. I cry at pretty much everything, so I don't know, like your threshold of what makes you cry is probably up here, mine's on the ground. But in the grand scheme of things that make me tear up, these were like actual, cries. Next is a book that made me happy, and that is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This wasn't like my favorite book, and I liked Beach Read much better, but it was really fun. And while I was reading it, it was just like an enjoyable time. I was happy. It is about travel and like friends to lovers. So there were so many tropes that were just like enjoyable. And after I finished reading it, I looked back and there were a number of things that I was like, okay, that wasn't the best. But the reading experience itself and being in the story made me happy. Next is my favorite book to movie adaptation that I've seen this year. I haven't watched a ton of movies or TV shows this year either. I did rewatch the entire MCU. And not only did I rewatch the entire MCU, but I fell in love with the MCU in a way that I wasn't in love with it before. I think seeing the entire project binged that way, and a lot of things on rewatch were just like extra impressive. So I'm kind of an MCU stan now. That's as close as I can get to a book to movie adaptation. Next is the most beautiful book that I've bought this year, and for me that is hands down this collection of the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. So this one came out last year. These are Illumicrate versions, and then these two came out this year, so it counts. But just look at how gorgeous these covers are, and you've got the sprayed edges, the quotes on the back. I also reread these for a podcast episode, and I still absolutely love this series. So I'm really happy to have these editions as well. One of my favorite series. And the final question is, what books do you have to read by the end of the year? Did I mention this entire unread books thing that I've got going on and all of the book of the month books that I have? Like all of those. Like I don't even know what a priority is to read books, honestly, at this point, and hopefully get like in a better reading mood where I can plan a little bit more of what I'm reading or even have an idea of what I want to read. Right now it's like spaghetti against the wall. I just keep starting things and like keep cycling through things until something sticks. I think that part of this has just been a really hectic and stressful year. This always happens to me when I am stressed, so it's not surprising, but it is disappointing. Yeah, that's all I got. At some point I might look back on goals and see like what I wanted to accomplish, but for right now the focus is just keep doing what I can to read and make it through this year. That's it for me today. If you have read or would like to read read any of the books that I've mentioned, let's chat down in the comments. If you have any additional questions for me about the 44 books that I've read this year, let me know. I'd be happy to answer those as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys soon. Was I leaning forward like in this whole thing? You know, I like being close to you guys, apparently. And he gets sent to a small town in Mississippi to stay with his grandmother. Ugh. I'm already thinking about like when I'll rewatch it again, so I've got issues.